Good morning, everybody. My book review is on the book called The First Rule of Punk by Celia C. Perez. Basically looks like that. And the premise behind this book is that our protagonist here, who is depicted on this picture, her name is Maria, but they call her Maui. Her name's Maria Luisa. She is moving from Florida to Chicago with her mother. Her parents are divorced. She is pretty attached to her father. Her father's kind of like a punk rocker, owns a record store, while her mother is an English professor, and she has the opportunity to go to Chicago on a professor fellowship. So she ends up taking Maria with her, or Maui, as she is talked about in the book. So why I chose this book is because there is a lot of, this semester we've been talking about power struggles in our textbook, and you can definitely see the power struggle between not only Maui and her mom, but also her new principal. So this whole book, to give you a quick synopsis without ruining anything, is about basically her being Maui, trying to come to terms with the fact that she isn't in Florida anymore, that she's in Chicago, that she's no longer a child and is now an adolescent or a young adult, because I believe she's in either the 7th or 8th grade, I think it's 7th, and that she's trying to figure out how to live in a new town and in a new way. It's actually kind of cool in the fact that I picked this book just blindly and started reading it this semester, because what's kind of cool with this is it has a lot of references to The Outsiders, which was kind of cool because that is one of the books that Maui is reading when she's at school to pass the time, is reading The Outsiders. So she kind of talks about several passages that are in The Outsiders. So I thought that was cool. But yeah, I think that this book would definitely be a nice addition to the reading list, just because, the majority of the books that we're reading, when we hear young adult and what we've read this semester, it's kind of seemed like as if they're geared towards more of the middle to later teenage years. And we haven't read it. I'm not saying that we won't, because I haven't read all the books for the rest of the semester, but we really haven't read one from the earlier part of young adulthood. And I thought that this was a nice addition. Not only does it deal in race, which is kind of interesting, seeing how she considers herself only half Mexican, but it also deals with some gender issues as well. So I highly recommend this book if anyone is interested in reading a book that has to do with kind of the coming of age, but the early coming of age. There is no sexual tension or anything like that in this book. It's more about just coming to terms with parents who are divorced, this child or young adult who is moving hundreds of miles away to a new place, and the power struggle between her and her mother, and her principal. So, and for anyone that kind of likes punk rock too, I'm kind of like an old punk rocker. I've been in punk bands, stuff like that. So when I saw it, I was like, yeah, I'll give it a try. And it's actually kind of cool. It talks about ways that she, her way of journaling is by making zines. And it's kind of cool that not every chapter, but a lot of these chapters, they end up having little zines that she made. So if she's feeling stressed out or something like that, she will end up making these, and then you as the reader can kind of read along. And that was kind of cool. How many pages? It's about 310 or so odd pages. So it's not a long read. And these chapters are really small and they go really quick. So once again, I highly recommend this. And thanks for taking the time to view my book review, guys. I hope you're having a great spring break.